know your audience. If you're talking
audience.
to a 21-year-old, you're not going to articulate your views the same way you would to someone who's 60. It's different. Know your audience, because life ain't about you. It's about the people you serve.
Welcome to the Nicholas Brown Podcast, a podcast talk show about real estate investing, business leadership, and personal development. Each week, we explore current real-life case studies about how to build financial independence through investing in real estate to build your personal portfolio through passive income models, along with interviews from the top business leaders and personal development leaders. Now, here's your host, Nicholas Brown.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I got another episode, and this episode is going to be a little bit more deep. We agreed that we may extend it, or I may cut it down another episode. So make sure, if you guys watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. As I said before, the previous episode before with Lieutenant General, you're going to want to subscribe to this episode and on the people. This is special here. We're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about personal development and life just in general, and sacrifice. I promise you, make sure you subscribe to this. And if you're listening in, make sure you download this, however you're watching this on your podcast, make sure you download this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the about section. We're going to get deep into those questions I say before. I normally say, ladies and gentlemen, and then we're just going to go forward. I promise you, this is a treat. So here we go. Today we have Maurice Philogene is senior executive, real estate investor and entrepreneur, real estate owner, explorer of 100 countries, public servant, federal agent, and police officer. I'm going to repeat that. He's a public servant, federal agent, and public officer, philanthropist, and lifestyle design wealth coach. He's a founding managing partner of Quattro Capital, and his passion is living life, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to prove that when you listen to this. His passion is living life, leveraging freedom principles, a foundation, financial freedom, time freedom, geographic freedom, freedom of purpose, and freedom of relationships. This is where we are now. You see how we're here? He uses real estate as leverage of freedom. He uses real estate and professional careers to generate passive, ongoing income and build legacy, all while empowering communities. So we're going to get into that too, how he's doing it, and helping others live their best life now through lifestyle design. Maurice is based in Washington, D.C., and the Mediterranean region. Reach out to Maurice on LinkedIn handle if you can. on LinkedIn at Maurice Philogene. I'm going to spell that. MauricePhilogene. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me, my brother. That was a mouthful, even just me listening to it.
Yeah, it again. It's exciting. Yeah, you want me to do it again? I'll do it again because it's exciting. I could have tweaked it because life. I always say, man, live daily, die once. You living, brother. You living, man.
Absolutely, we
live daily. You only die once, man. You living. You're the example for it. But people don't know that you sacrifice, and people don't know the after effect of what you have done to get to your point where you living. Sure. You know what I mean? Sure. Am I right? You have sacrificed some things. Am I correct?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And one of the reasons I reached out to you and try now to get on podcasts is because while I was going through the entire journey, and of course it hasn't stopped.
That's right.
But a majority of it, I never told anybody. And I just started telling people about what was happening maybe a year or two ago.
Okay. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So this is what I'm going to do starting off also. Thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your service. You was an officer, correct? Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force?
Yep.
Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force. Thank you for your service. And then here's what I definitely have to stress. You served, you was a police officer, correct?
Police officer as well. Yep.
You're a police officer where you used to serve your community. Am I correct? Your community.
Absolutely.
That was sacrifice. But this leads to my question is, as we said before I started recording this, what is your why? Why did you do that, sir?
As far as the service to community?
We're going to start with the service of the United States. Why did you go to the
States.
yeah?
Let me tell you, it is not a movie story at the beginning.
Okay.
Frankly, I just needed money to go to college. That's what it was. I come from an immigrant family. I'm first generation Haitian.
Okay.
From Haiti, although French and Creole are my first languages. My parents stressed education, like many immigrant parents.
Right.
They got me to college, but said, look, I got into the Naval Academy. They said, we got you into the Naval Academy. If you want to go somewhere else, that's on you. I wanted to go play football at a regular Division I school. So I went to University of Virginia and I got a ROTC scholarship to keep going. So at the beginning, a brother just needed to go to school.
Right.
Needed to go to school.
What was your running back?
No. I was a safety at the time. And then later on in life, I became a running back. But I was a safety at University of Virginia.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So how long did you serve?
Yeah, so I served. So I stayed ROTC. Fortunately for me, because of the journey, too many officers coming out nationwide. When I graduated, they gave you the option of going Guard Reserve. I took it because in '97, second lieutenants coming out were making 24 grand. The company that I worked for 25 years paid me 42. So there was really no option there. I took it. But I went right into the reserves. I became a security forces or military police commander. And then 4 years later, I became a federal agent, or the equivalent of like NCIS, OSI, CID. So I was an OSI special agent and then retired 2 years ago after 22 years of service.
Wow. So what was your reason for that? Do you have a why?
You
went so long for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
what's your why?
Yep. You start to realize very quickly that the world is not about you. It's not. The world is about serving other people. The more I serve people, the more I serve community, the more I give back knowledge that I have learned, even on this podcast, for example, the more I feel like I am serving my purpose on this earth. So it is simply to help people in dynamic ways that I have figured out that I can help people. And one of those was by being a military commander, federal agent, special agent in charge, whatever you want to call it, because I had troops under my purview, right? Not only was I a leader, I was a good follower. You learn to listen to the people below and beside you as much as you lead them, right? You got to be a good follower. I loved it. I loved it, and I loved impacting those men and women's lives, making sure that not only did they execute the mission, but they were always available to take care of their families. I was much more of the people commander than I was the company man, if you will. So my why was helping people, and it still is to this day.
Okay. So that leads to the subject that I've been having these last 2 to 3 episodes, leadership. Sure. So what motivates you to lead? You kind of answered that. So what motivated you to become a leader when you decided to get that position? Sound like your most rewarding was in the military. Sound like it as a leader.
Yeah, you know what? I think
at that time, brother.
At the time, what motivated me to become a leader, I wasn't necessarily motivated when it all started.
Okay.
But I was put in a position of leadership as an officer. You know how it is. They throw you right into the fire.
Right.
And you have a responsibility. So I would actually say over time, because I became a second lieutenant when I was 21, and I had guys under me. At the time, it was the Maryland Air National Guard. I had guys and women under me who had served in Vietnam. You have a responsibility to teach them what you know or what you've been told. You also have a responsibility to execute the mission. And more so, you got a responsibility to keep them safe. So it just built over time the motivation to do right by them, to do right by the mission. And then what ends up happening is the mission starts giving to you. You start meeting incredible people around the planet. You start developing skills. You start being trusted to have a conversation with the police command, or let's say the ambassador for Turkey, or the ambassador for Djibouti, Africa. There is an ultimate confidence that military officers are given it just built up in me over time. And then my motivation became, I am a representative of not only the states, right? But I'm also a representative of the people that I look like. I'm talking about Black folk, who are in positions of leadership. And how am I going to put myself out there, right?
That's right. That's right.
You know, and I was representing my parents too. So the motivation built up over time. It wasn't an instant thing. It just over, you know, you do stuff like that over 2 decades, and you can imagine the types of things I was doing in federal law enforcement and counterintelligence.
Oh, yeah.
It builds you up as a person.
This episode is brought to you by Nicholas Brown, REI.club.
Hello, and thanks for watching this brief video. My name is Nicholas Brown. I'm an author and a residential developer here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're on target this quarter of redeveloping 5 properties here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And our passive investors, they're just sitting back and relaxing it because they're enjoying receiving the double-digit returns, which is protected, secured, and insured. So if you're a passive investor, or if you have 401k or retirement income or decent credit scores in the 700 and above,
then download our chart for more information at nicholasbrownrei.club/partner, and I'll send you our DFW double-digit returns case study chart. Once again, for more information, go to nicholasbrownrei.club/partner. Right, you gotta have thick skin, or build more thicker skin also, and be aware. But you kept planting that word responsibility. Responsibility is someone can trust. It's a trustworthy. You got to be more trustworthy to be. Am I right?
Yeah.
So you were very trustworthy, and they led you on to another level of leading at that time. Correct?
It did. And also in that space, you obviously are privy to a lot of information that the general public is not. I saw what was going on in the world. And even though I saw some very disturbing and outrageous things that happen out everywhere, I mean, political, diplomatic, militarily, wow. You know what?
Do y'all call it? We call it back in the day OPSEC, Operation Security.
Definitely.
Can't get that information out. Right. But the stuff that you came across, it was like, wow. I'm like, yeah.
I was in my 20s and 30s seeing what I was seeing.
Right.
This is what I learned over time being a federal agent and a police officer on the street. My job is to make sure that the regular citizen can live in ignorance and bliss. That's what a public servant's job is. You are trying to make sure that your neighbor, the kid down the street, the teacher, can go do what they are supposed to do without all the drama that exists in the world. We shield people from that. So it was a pleasure to do.
That's awesome, man. That's a sacrifice. So this is the next question. Can you teach us something overall on leadership, whether it's in the military, a young brother, young sister, or young person, or someone that's in business, or the entrepreneurs such as yourself? What's something that stands out that you can teach someone who wants to lead and follow a leader such as yourself?
Yeah, it's not the A personality. You must be the I don't know, the hardcore general type stuff. It's none of that, actually. The first thing that popped into my mind was communication. You got to know who your audience is at all times. I have had a blessed professional and personal background in that I am immersed in white collar, blue collar, and no collar all the time. I can speak to the 4-star general, and I can brief a CEO of a company from my civilian career. For my policing and federal law enforcement career, I can spend time with a family. I can sit right next to someone having a mental health crisis on the curb and shoot the breeze with that person. But I can also relate to the 21-year-old newly minted airman or private or what have you, and understand where that person is coming from, especially because of how I grew up in a very humble. We certainly weren't poor, but we didn't have a lot growing up. So I'm very humble in everything that I have. I know my audience, and I have the ability to relate to different types of people all over the world. And that's where, traveling to 100 countries comes into play as well. Because I have so much empathy for this world and culture and people and languages and different types of food. different types of businesses, different types of military interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good foundation for being able to shift on how I speak to people in business, in the military, and in my corporate career.
That's life, and you live, and that's personal development. That's a topic, as I said before. You steady living life. Would you agree on there? You steady learning, and you want to be, as I say before, which I'm non-denomination. You want to be a blessing to others. You want to be a favor to others. So giving this shall be given. But I sponge off of people. I sponge off of cultures also. So I definitely relate to what you're saying on there. So communication, that's one of the tips. Learn how to communicate with your surroundings.
Absolutely. And know your audience. If you're talking to a 21-year-old, you're not going to articulate your views the same way you would to someone who's 60. It's different. Know your audience, because life ain't about you. It's about the people you serve.
That's right. Okay. So what's your perspective on leadership from when you started? How many years when you went to the service to where you're at now? How many when you for example? So
I mean,
20 plus years,
25 years now.
25 years. How has leadership changed to you now of teaching a person or having someone follow you? Kind of answered that also.
Yeah, that's okay. But you know what I'll tell you? I am a leader in different ways now. So let's say all the stuff that I did so I was in corporate consulting for 25 years straight and got to a very senior position there. And I was also a senior officer in the military. So we had a lot of responsibility, and you are seen as the tip of the spear making the decisions, the corporate decisions. But where I am today now, when I became a police officer locally later in my career, I did so. And immediately, once people figured out my background at the local police department, they would ask, hey, do you want to be the detective? Do you want to get on the task forces? Do you want to do this? Because I was already a federal agent. I already had investigative ability. I knew how to run sources, for example. I knew how to spend time with leadership. And I said, absolutely not. That is not why I went to go be a local police officer. And that's not what I want to do in Quattro Capital, which is a company I started now, 2 years ago. What I want now is to be part of the team.
Okay. I
don't want to be the tip of the spear, necessarily making the decisions. I want to lead from behind. I've had my moment.
Right.
I've had it. Right. So when I became a cop, I just wanted to go into roll call, everyone hear what we got to do for the night, break the huddle, and go out on the street as part of the team. I didn't want to be regarded as the guy who had already investigated hundreds of felonies. I just wanted to go out on the street and help families out there. Similar to Quattro Capital, which is in my background. So I started Quattro Capital 2 years ago with 4 other partners. We've done about $100 million of business this year. My partners listen to me. I am not the tip of the spear, go find the massive property guy anymore. What I am is the investor relations person who will sit down with someone like Nicholas and talk through financial freedom, time freedom, how I accomplished it, and how can we use Quattro Capital on all the apartment complexes we buy to do so.
This episode is brought to you by Nicholas Brown, REI.club.
Hello and thanks for watching this brief video. My name is Nicholas Brown. I'm an author and a residential developer here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're on target this quarter of redeveloping 5 properties here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And our passive investors, they're just sitting back and relaxing it because they're enjoying receiving the double-digit returns, which is protected, secured, and insured. So if you're a passive investor, or if you have 401k or retirement income or decent credit scores in the 700 and above,
then download our chart for more information at nicholasbrownrei.club/partner, and I'll send you our DFW double-digit returns case study chart. Once again, for more information, go to nicholasbrownrei.club/partner. That's the next question, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening in on the podcast, we're going to fall into that because as I talk about is real estate, we're going to get deep into it because that's how we draw each other's attention. Also, I never have, which I'm doing now, never have bought storages. I never have bought apartment complexes, but I'm building it and I'm learning for sources such as Maurice. He's guiding us. It's about 3 principles: time, talent, treasure that I learned on that. If you don't have Time, work on the other two. Time, talent, treasure. Am I correct? If you don't have the money, work on the time and talent. Me and my partner work together. We're going to bring this deal to Maurice because we got 100 units that we can purchase. But I'm going to let Maurice explain that because really real estate investing works all types of ways, but this here builds leverage and more passive income. And he says before, he doesn't have to work as much with a team, as he says before, which I want him to explain that, which he has 4 people on his team.
Oh, yeah.
Which are working together. But I want you to explain the difference between regular residential investing, which you have done that before. He's walked the walk, ladies and gentlemen, compared to now to multifamily, where you have passive income and all types of income coming together, where he has a restaurant, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? So, but I want you to explain that, man. This is awesome.
Explain it. It can be my story can be somewhat confusing, but I can sum it up.
Living, man. You live your life. Ain't no confusion. You live. You living, bro. You living thanks to your surroundings and your sacrifice. People, that's why I say that's what making me passionate. People don't know what I sacrificed to get to this point. They don't know what you got to. So no worries, bro. I'm listening. We listening.
Everything was about freedom for me. I learned about passive income when I was 21 and executed on it. One
moment, ladies and gentlemen. You hear that word freedom? That wasn't free. He sacrificed to make the word freedom. I'm just going to make that point. People think that's why I fight. I'm glad I went to the Marine Corps, the service one there. Free, so you can have that freedom to talk what you want to talk in the United States. It's a price. There's a price for that. But go ahead.
That's right. It was about freedom. It was about freedom for me. I sacrificed by saving 70% of my salary my entire life.
Wow.
Buying single family residences and eventually paying off 18 of them to create a salary that was bigger than my corporate salary. That was 2002 to 2015. I gave up my weekends. I gave up my 20s. I gave up my early 30s. I gave up social circles because I wanted it so bad, such that my 46-year-old self can thank my 23-year-old self for making all that sacrifice. So
time out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to repeat what he said. It's time out. 2002 to 2015. And look where he's at. He has sacrificed. He kept moving though. He put 70% back to invest, but he had a vision. Am I correct?
I had a vision. I never let it go.
Right. Man, I'm excited for you, man. But that's what I mean by the after effect. In 2015, started in 2002, and look at the after effects and the rewards that he's getting and the freedom and the choices he has now.
So I am out of the W-2 now. I'm totally out by choice at this point.
Exactly what I'm about to say, by choice, right? You don't have no problems.
Nah, I'm good.
A choice. Your choice.
I'm very good. And what that resulted in was about 160, 170 grand of passive income by 2015-ish. But the change was when I met my partners. Okay. I did 35 single family homes on my own. You know what team will do for you? Team will accelerate you. Team will support you. Team means that you can break up all the responsibilities and move faster, further together. Everyone's in the same boat, rowing the same way. We did our first deal. I did a couple of multifamilies on my own between 15 and 17, a couple apartment complexes and some mobile home communities. I started Quattro Capital with my partners in 2019, late 2019. Since then, we've done 21 apartment complexes together in under 2 years. Just at the 2-year point. And in the last 12 months, we've acquired $100 million of property to include 276 unit we just closed on yesterday in Evansville.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. But that was what you were asking me in the beginning, what was different. I'm grateful for what I did by myself and I sacrificed and what have you. I am more grateful that I was smart enough to understand I needed to evolve and be part of a team on the investing side. And the amount of throughput that I've had with them, there's no way I would have ever been able to accomplish all that on my own. So team matters.
This episode is brought to you by Nicholas Brown, REI.club.
Hello and thanks for watching this brief video. My name is Nicholas Brown. I'm I'm an author and a residential developer here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're on target this quarter of redeveloping 5 properties here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And our passive investors, they're just sitting back and relaxing it because they're enjoying receiving the double-digit returns, which is protected, secured, and insured. So if you're a passive investor, or if you have 401k or retirement income or decent credit scores in the 700 and above,
then download our chart for more information at nicholasbrownrei.club/partner, and I'll send you our DFW double-digit returns case study chart. Once again, for more information, go to nicholasbrownrei.club/partner. That's right. That's right. All right. Perseverance. And at this time, I'm going to end this in a second, though. Did you ever have to shift circles that you were in or people that you was with during this time, 2002 to 2015? Did you have to like, hey, Nicholas, we're fine, everything, but I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, I'm not there,
brother.
So.
I
know, I'm not hating on you.
No, you're right.
No, I'm just saying in general. I tell him, I'm not hating, man. I just don't. That ain't me no more. I don't do that.
No,
man.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Next level, because I value my time, man. You got to get to that point. That's what my point is.
You do. And the number one deterrent I had to any relative success I've had was people and peers. I had to drop people along the way. Not because they weren't good people or they didn't have business sense or what have you, but because their values just were not aligned to mine. I gotta go get this passive income. I'm going to do anything to get it. And I'm gonna do it right with integrity and values. I'm not cheating anybody. I'm not gouging people on rent. I'm not doing funny things with mortgage applications. I'm not doing any of that. I need to go to bed well.
Right.
So yeah, there were shifts along the way of different styles of people, and Quattro Capital, the 4 partners I have now, and then I have one other partner for my developments in the Mediterranean. That's a different story, but I have found the right people to grow with as the 46-year-old man that I am, and we are all family at this point, so I stay there. But you definitely leave people behind along the way.
Okay, what are you giving? So you're philanthropist. I can't even say it correctly though.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What is it? And explain that. What is it? What is
philanthropy?
Yeah, I know they give or whatever, but what is it? Get in detail.
Yeah, so I retired as a police officer this year, so I'm not giving by running into the house with the burglar and pulling them out anymore. The way that I give is by creating mass amounts of wealth through Quattro Capital and real estate and a bunch of the restaurants that I own. And I deploy that wealth in different ways. I do it locally in DC with specific 1 or 2 charities. I like them. I'll just leave that alone for now. But when I am overseas, I have a very deep, profound attraction to the Mediterranean, Aegean region, and the people who are there who need help. So for example, last year in August of 2020, after the blast in Lebanon, which was the 3rd largest blast in human history.
Really?
It hurt a lot of people, and I had been spending a lot of time there. So I raised a little bit and took, let's say, 30 grand. I turned it into about 80,000 worth of buying power on the black market.
Wow.
And I went door to door, finding the right people to make sure they had resources to do things with, especially families with autistic kids, because my oldest is autistic. I find different ways to give back. And one last thing I want to say, there's nothing wrong with going to a soup kitchen and feeding people. I get that. But I have now come to understand why people push so hard to get wealth such that they can move entire communities, right?
Right.
So what I do from a real estate perspective is important because a good portion of that is not my money. It's society's money, and that's where it's going to go.
That's awesome, man. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's all right. To be a blessing to others, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's your path. That's just natural, seem like it to you. and you're raising. That's good, man. So we're going to end this. I'd love to get you on another episode, another time, if possible, because I can see this happening. We get deep on this. But you got any last words or thoughts, anything you love to give our audience on people that's watching here on YouTube?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Everything that I've done from a real estate perspective was not about real estate ever. Never. It was
Really?
always about freedom.
Okay.
Time freedom, financial freedom, geographic freedom, freedom to live your purpose, whether it's being a police officer or philanthropist, and then freedom to build relationships with amazing people like yourself.
Thank
you don't need a ton of money. You don't need $20 million in the bank to be free. You just need more passive income than you have expenses. If you got $4,000 of expenses a month and you can generate 6,000 of passive income, you can be free. People are losing the whole reason why we are going to work, right? People are so focused on work and so busy in the rat race that they're forgetting, save a good portion of that paycheck, invest it in something that will pay you such that your 46-year-old self can thank your 23-year-old self the way mine is right now. You don't need a lot of passive income, but please, please make one of your focuses, in addition to getting the next title and the next paycheck and the next certification, focus on how you can get your version of freedom, because we are intended to live life a particular way. And I believe people have just kind of lost perspective on that a bit. So I just want to share that with you.
Okay. Maurice, I know you only said LinkedIn. We'll do what it takes to reach out to you or meet your team, man. We want to learn how can they get in contact. Do you have any courses or any ways for people who have money to invest their time? How can they get in contact with you? Or what's the keyword you need for LinkedIn to reach you? You know what I mean?
Got you.
I mean,
So
how can they reach you?
Yep, folks can find me on LinkedIn. It's just Maurice Philogene, my name. You can find me on Instagram as well at Maurice Philogene. There's much more of the lifestyle related things there. We didn't get into it, but the travel, the 100 countries, why I'm doing it, my family is mostly there. And then from a business perspective, it's Quattro Capital, the Quattro Way, QUATTRO Way, WAY.com. That's my business with my partners, where we do apartment syndication, value add. We'll buy apartment buildings, raise money, improve it. Awesome returns for our investors. But to be honest, man, like if anyone just wants to talk about the freedom aspects and things of that nature, how to grab it, how to get out of the W-2, how I did it, how other people are doing it without even investing. They're just shifting their lives. They're doing remote jobs, living in Europe now and all that stuff.
Right.
I love talking about those topics. So anyone who reaches out, I'll reach back to them.
Okay. I'll make sure I'll link that also. Well, hey, Maurice, man, this has been great, man. The time has moved fast. And once again, I'm going to grab you for another episode.
Of course.
at time, man. And I appreciate your time, brother. I really do appreciate your time. Man. Anything I can do, people reaching out. Do you need anything? We're going to ask you, what do you need? Do you need anything for your philanthropy? What do you need help
me continue my own purpose of helping people. So if there's someone that I can help with bits of, I only have so much time in a day, of course, but if there's someone I can help with bits of information, a call, formal coaching, I am coaching people formally on freedom principles and escaping the W-2. I don't care what it is. I just generally like to help people, because you and I were not taught through formal education that we can take control of our lives. I'm self-taught, obviously. I want to give that to as many people as I can before my 28,000 average days on this planet is up. That's all I'm here to do.
Oh man, I just talked about that. Does that seem like a lot of, you making me extend this? One more question.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a lot of time to you? 28,000.
No, it's not a lot of time. But you know why I said, you know why I said 20, but that's the point.
I don't see like
the biggest mistake in life is thinking you have a lot of time. We measure life in years, which is a very abstract thing. You can't really put your hand on it. You're just like, I have a lot of years. But when you measure your life in days, it's different. I have 11,200 some odd days left.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna put that link, because you paid the link on there where you got an Excel where you can put your days on there.
How many days do you have left? How much time you wasting?
And it can scare you, ladies and gentlemen, or it can make you more aware.
It'll make you execute
about what you want to do. what you want to do. That is deep stuff, man. You got to keep going, man, because I'm going to end this. This is a comedian. Everybody looked at that commercial with the right guard where the little white Dion Cole. You ever saw that? So Dion Cole has a Netflix special on there, but he just made a point that say, hey, man, we don't have that many summers left. When I was in my 40s, 45, man, I counted it up. The average time a man would live on there. He said 20 to 30 years. Hey, man, there ain't too many summers left. Wow. So he said, man, I'm going to take care of my business. That's basically what he was saying. Because it's not that many, man. 20 summers, 30 summers.
That's why I retired this year. Yeah. I could have stayed, but I got things to do.
That's it, man. Well, hey, man, I definitely appreciate
my pleasure. Time. My pleasure, man. Thank you, Nicholas.
Well, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. As I said before, don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us on the Nicholas Brown Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.nickbrowninc.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like this show and you are a new real estate investor, then check out one of Nicholas's free reports called the Wholesale Dominator Report, also located on our website, www.nickbrowninc.com/free reports. Be sure to tune in for our next episode. And remember, don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Have a great day.